This is Look Both Ways, A Tale Told in 10 Blocks by Jason Reynolds. This is a really unique book because it's a book of short stories, but they're all connected because they're all told on the same day when the bell rings for dismissals from a specific school. And there are 10 different stories, and each story is about different kids about their walk home from school that day. So 10 blocks, 10 stories. But there are little subtle connections between the stories, even though the characters are kind of like the main characters in each story is different. There are some connections between the stories because they're all coming from the same school. The first story is from Marston Street. So each story is a different street, a different block, right? And it has one of the best hooks, the best beginnings of any story I think I've ever read. So this is a story called Water Booger Bears. This story was going to begin like all the best stories, with a school bus falling from the sky. But no one saw it happen. No one heard anything. So instead, this story will begin like all the good ones, with boogers. If you don't get all them nasty half-baked goblins out your nose, I promise I'm not walking home with you. Just not playing. Jasmine Jordan said this like she said most things, with her whole body. Like the words weren't just coming out of her mouth, but were also rolling down her spine. She said it like she meant it. Said it with the same don't play with me tone her mother used whenever she was trying to talk to Jasmine about something important for her real life. And Jasmine turned the music up in her ears real loud to drown her mother out and scroll on, scroll on. If you don't take them earbuds, earphones, whatever they call that, your coconut head, it's going to be me turning up the volume and the bass, and I ain't talking about no music. That tone. Jasmine's booger removal warning was aimed at her stuffy-nosed best friend, Terrence Jumper, TJ. Well, Jasmine called him her best friend who's a boy, but she didn't have best friends who were girls, so TJ was her best friend. And she was his. Been like that for a long time. Since he moved on to Marston Street, 3 houses down from her. Since the only way their mothers would let them be walkers was if they walked together, because they were the only kids who lived on their block. Since 6 years, so since forever. The bell rang, and Jasmine and TJ had just left their last class for the day, the only class they had together, life science with Mr. Fantana. You been back to school for 2 days, and you already starting with me? TJ spun the black lock dial confidently, like he could feel the difference in the grooves and would know when he landed on the right numbers. How could I not? Look at them things. Honestly, TJ, I don't know how you're breathing right now, Jasmine continued. Their lockers were right next to each other, luckily, because Jasmine, unlike TJ, turned her lock with an intense concentration, glaring at it as if the combination could up and change at any second, or as if her fingers might stop working at any moment. And if for some reason either of those things happened, at least she knew TJ was right there to help. TJ shrugged, tossing his science book onto the floor of the metal closet, the smell of feet wafting up from it like a cloud of dust, unsettled and unsettling. The floor of his locker was littered with empty snack bags that Jasmine had slid through the door vent between classes over the last 2 days. Trash, yes, but Jasmine and TJ called them friendship flags, the litter of love. And because Jasmine had been gone for a while, they were basically notes that said, I've missed you, in Cheeto dust. Then finally, with the hardened snot like tiny stones rolled in front of the entrance to his nose, TJ turned the bottom of his shirt up and mopped it. A streak of slime smeared across his lip as he swiped and pinched and dug, just enough for it to count as a dig, but not enough for it to count as digging. TJ tilted his face upward so Jasmine could get a clear line of sight into his nostrils. Better, he asked, half sincere, half hoping there was one more booger left, that it was somehow making a mean face at Jasmine. Jasmine stared into TJ's nose like she was peering through a brown microscope of flesh, and she did this totally unfazed by the fact that TJ had just used his t-shirt, the one he was wearing, as a tissue. And why would she be bothered? Not that it wasn't disgusting, it was, but she'd known him a long time, had seen him do things that made boogers on the bottom of a t-shirt seem like nothing more than added decoration. Booger bedazzle, a little flavor for his fashion. Had seen him use his fingers to pick gum off the bottom of his sneakers, and hers. And of course, nothing would ever beat the time he clapped a mosquito dead right where it had bitten him, then licked the fly slime off his arm. That one Jasmine had dared him to do. Paid him $1 for it. Worth it for both of them.